This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today we're going to be talking Chanel and in particular a story time video about how I got this little baby here, the 255 reissue in blue velvet. She wore blue velvet. You know the song? Yeah. It's an interesting story. So I'm going to tell it to you right now. But before, if you like my content and keep coming back for more, but haven't yet, now is the time to subscribe to my channel. And next to the subscription button, you can push the join button and become a member today of the Fashion Bunker and gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, become a patron today. Superdacob all spelled together on Patreon. If you join me on Patreon, you also get access to extra perks. Thank you to all my members and patrons who have already pledged. And since this video is being filmed live in front of a virtual studio audience, I would like to thank my virtual co-reviewers and co-listeners of the story time with me in the chat section to the side. You guys, this little baglet here, right? The 255 reissue. Okay. Let me tell you where it's at. Oh, it's such a chubby little one. It's supposed to be squished, but it's so thick and supple that it opens up on its own. It's so cute. It's so cute. So here's the story, Morning Glory. I got this bag exactly a year ago, towards mid-late March of 2020. Right as globally, the lockdown situation that shall remain unnamed was being announced with the P, you know, the P word. And so I actually had to, okay, let me put this on my shoulder just for a sec. I was looking into purchasing. I was looking into going rogue a little bit, being unfaithful to Chanel. Yes, there was a moment there when I was going to get an YVES Saint Laurent bag. I was looking, actually, I'm still obsessed with that bag 1 year later, which kind of makes me believe that I should really get it, because like if I'm still obsessed with it 1 year after I wanted to originally get it, maybe I should get it. But what happened? Why didn't I get it? Okay, so because the lockdown had initiated, and it was really scary back then because we had no clue. So we're talking a year ago. No clue. What was going down? How dangerous was this disease? Like how quickly would it, there were reports about, if you're younger, it's not a big deal for you. But then reports started coming in about even younger people ending up in the hospital. And I was like, really? And here I am. I still had like some of my gigs going on and jobs, but I was like losing them. Like they were just about to all get lost. So anyway, I still had some money put aside and I was like, I want a bag. I love this particular bag. I was obsessed with it. But I was a bit scared to go through the city to the, I didn't want to order it online. Listen, I would never order luxury bags online. I tried it with Louis Vuitton when they started offering their online ordering service, and of the few pieces that I did order online, I sent back like half of them because I didn't like the quality that I had the feeling they're sending you second choice quality online. Different experience than buying it. I would never do it again. So this particular bag that I wanted was available online, but I wanted to go to the boutique and see it in person because I'd never seen it live before, and I wanted to touch it, feel it, and if I like it, then buy it. Mind you, YVES Saint Laurent prices are much lower than Chanel prices. So it's still a big commitment, but we're talking, half the price or 1/3 of the price of Chanel prices. So this bag wasn't even in the picture. I had seen the blue velvet of last year, and I loved, they made several style bags in this blue velvet, but, I didn't see the mini in blue velvet. I just saw on their website the mini in like a powdery pink, rosy pink. But the blue velvet, look at the depth, look at the intensity of this blue. I mean, it's to die for. But anyway, this bag, let's take it away, officially doesn't exist still. Because Dacob wants the Yves Saint Laurent bag. So I thought, okay, before I venture and risking my life traveling towards the Yves Saint Laurent boutique, let me call their headquarters or information counter or whatever have you and ask them, give them the product number and ask, hey guys, do you happen to have this bag in your boutiques or boutique? And I, told them the one I was thinking of going to. And the lovely lady on the phone said, oh yes, we do have one left in stock. And usually it's like, oh yeah, one left in stock. They always say that's because they want you to rush over and get it. But so anyway, only one left in stock. And I was like, sure. Okay, well, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to rush off and I'm going to go get it then. Thank you so much for the information, right? So I hang up the phone and I get ready and I start my journey towards the Yves Saint Laurent store. Super scared. Like, it was scary because back then nobody still was wearing masks or anything. It was all kind of like you're looking on the street at other people. First of all, the streets were already emptying up. It already felt really scary. People were like locking themselves up in their houses. It was very much like the plague because nobody knew what was going on. So, okay. So it was super scary. I was like, at one point, I was like, maybe if I breathe less, if I inhale air less, it'll be better. So I would kind of like, which didn't work out well for me because after 2 minutes, I was like, Dacob, you're going to suffocate yourself. You're not going to be able to walk and like breathe less than you normally breathe. You're just going to faint in the middle of the street. That doesn't work either. So I was like, okay, back to breathing, but like running away from people. I mean, it was a mess, but I made it hysterically, but I made it to the Yves Saint Laurent boutique. I enter and the boutique is empty. There's one security dude at the door that opens the door to you, says, oh, hello, hello. He closes the door and then he steps away immediately because he's scared too. Nobody knew back then really how to deal with this on an emotional level. It was so new to everyone. So I step away from him. He steps away from me. And then from a distance, I'm looking for a bag. And he's like, oh, hold on a minute. I'm just the security. Somebody will come to help you out. Huge boutique, 2 floors. Nobody is in that boutique except security dude at the door and me. At this point, I'm standing in the center of the store because I'm also the type of person, I don't know, if no sales associate is with me in a luxury boutique, I'm not that person that's going to go to the stuff and touch them. I respect their space and I don't want that. And I also always feel guilty for some reason. I have the feeling like if security sees me moving, they're going to like look at me like I'm going to steal something. And I hate that feeling. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to stand in the center of the room, very zen, far away from any product. So I'm not going to steal anything because I hate when they start looking at you, So I'm just like standing there like a total idiot in the middle of this ginormous space with this ginormous staircase like leading upstairs. And I'm like, fee, 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 beep, 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 beep. I'm like, so 5 minutes pass. I'm like, excuse me, like I would, maybe like to see someone now. And finally I hear a door slamming upstairs and I'm like, oh. Okay, and somebody's like kind of rushing downstairs and they stop at a distance from me. This guy. Very hectic. Like, how can I help you? A sister. And I was, and he scans me and I'm like, oh, we're going to play that game. On top of this place being like, after a nuclear destruction zone, like there's nobody, you're giving me that scanning me type of thing. I'm like, oh no, you don't. I came here with a specific thing I want. Don't you dare give me that attitude. But I didn't tell him that, but I was like, anyway, I was like, listen, there's this particular bag I'm looking for. And I was told that you have it in stock. So I would really like to see it. Tell him what it is. He's like, oh yes, it's probably here somewhere. Like, probably here somewhere. So he jumps off to one corner, to the next corner, pulling drawers, looking into crevices, opening hidden doors, because all these boutiques have these hidden spots behind mirrors where they have stacks of stuff. And I'm still standing in the middle of the room. At this point, I'm like, I ain't moving nowhere. And he opened up a couple of those secret compartments. And at one point, he's like, oh, I can't seem to find it. I was like, well, I just called your service center, and they said that this specific boutique still had one in stock. Maybe you have it in other colorways. I could also see other colorways. I mean, I wanted this specific color, but if you show me another color, I can at least get to feel the material and know where we're at with it, you know. He's like, no, we don't have, let me check. And off he goes upstairs, and another 10 minutes pass, and I'm like, in the middle of the space, waiting. Finally, he comes downstairs again. And the voice changes even further into something that I am not appreciative of. You know, he's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, oh God, if you start talking like that to me, I'm already done. I'm so sorry, but like, we do have it, but it's reserved for someone. And I'm like, really? I called. Specifically, they said it's available. And I said, like, listen, we're in the middle of this lockdown. I risked my life to come here. I know it's first world problems, but like, you can't, like, it's an empty store. Who are you going to sell it to? I'm like, really? So you cannot sell it? He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but we can take your number and we can call you if the person doesn't come to pick it up. I'm like, this might be the last day I'm leaving the house for a long time. No, thank you. I'm not going to give you my number. You're not going to call me. This ain't happening. And I turned around and I left. Oh yes, I gave them the attitude. I'm like, no, I'm not going to give you my number. So what? You're going to call me then 3 days later, like, oh, you're going to try your luck with that other whoever person you put it aside for. And then if they don't get it, I'm second choice. You can keep your bag. You can keep your empty stove. Bye. And he stood there like, wow, like I was so rude. Yes, I was. Because like, I wasn't having it. I was stressed out getting there to begin with. On the phone, they said I could get the bag, that the bag was available. They didn't say you can have the bag, but they said, oh yes, one bag is available, only one. You know, and they didn't lie to me. Turned out that it was only one because he only found that one that was reserved for somebody, and Dacob can't have it. I was like, okay, fine. You're not getting my number, bye. Fuming, I step out of YVES Saint Laurent, and I'm like, oh, damn, you know, it's not a normal day, like the lockdown, you know, everything is like, it's terrible. And I say lockdown because I can't say the P word, but because this was before the lockdown, but it was as that was the period when the P was announced. And I'm like, I need a mood booster. What should I do? Well, I know Chanel is around the corner. Maybe some of my friends are working there. You know, they're always going to lift up my spirits. And why not? You know, Chanel was just around the corner. So I turn around the corner and I pop into Chanel, and my friend is working there and says, Dacob, how's it going? I'm like, oh. Then I say, you know, listen, I had this drama at YVES Saint Laurent. He's like, wait, before you tell me the drama, listen, this just came in today for a client that cannot pick it up and will not pick it up because it was the same period when you guys might remember, the minis, the double C lock minis and the houndstooth black and white arrived. I didn't like that one anyway. But anyway, so this customer is like, oh, I prefer that one to this one. But this one was first ordered and then not picked up because that customer preferred the houndstooth version. So I saw this one and I was like, oh my God, I love it. Oh my God, love. And like he's showing me, he's like, yeah, I thought you might like it. And since it wasn't picked up today, I was thinking to write you, but I wasn't sure because, you know, the whole thing is being announced and we're going to go into lockdown and this and that. So I don't know. And I was like, no, okay, well, good to know. Oh God, this bag is so gorgeous. So I'm like looking at it now and I'm like, oh, so cute. So anyway, so I was like, okay. And then he's like, well, then tell me what happened. I was like, well, I was technically at YVES Saint Laurent. looking for another bag, and I tell him the whole story. And he's like, oh, he starts laughing. I'm like, is there something that I should know? He's like, oh, this is so funny. Listen, what bag do you want? A very dear friend of mine, because all of these sales associates know each other. It's like, they're all, there's this whole, the cult of the sales associates of luxury. They all know each other amongst each other. He's like, oh, this is a friend of mine. She works there. I can write her right away if you want the bag, and we can get it for you. It might take a while because she's at home right now. I'm like, well, don't bother her if she's at home. I mean, it is what it is. They told me their bag is reserved for somebody. He's like, no, I'll write her. It's going to take her a couple of days to go back to work anyway. Excuse me? Is she on holiday? Are you going to disturb her while she's on holiday? He's like, oh, no, she's in quarantine, she's locked at home. I'm like, what? Because back then, March of 2020, if you had to stay at home, locked down, it meant only one thing. Back then, to be locked down meant you got the disease. And I was like, does she have the... He's like, yeah. So listen, this is what happened. I'm like, oh God. He's like, well, turns out that this was like the first store that had to close down because of that disease. So he tells me, one of their colleagues got it a week ago. So the entire staff of the store was sent home immediately, and they all had to be in their own lockdown, the Q word. And for 15 days. And they all had to get tested, and most of them got it. And I'm like, dude, I was just there now. Why the F don't they put a frickin' sign on the door or just keep the place closed? Why do they put customers at risk? This is the beginning of the situation. It's not like today when we're all a little bit more relaxed about it, even though we're not. But he's like, yeah, well, the thing is, they sent the entire staff into lockdown. And from another city, the extra staff that they had, they sent it over to this boutique to keep the boutique running with the new staff, partial staff, 2 people, until situation gets better. And I was like, oh, that's why that guy had no clue where the bag was. That's why that guy didn't know anything about where what was. And that's why that guy could not ultimately make the decision whether or not to sell me that bag that was reserved for somebody else, because he had no contact with that client, because his colleague that was now in lockdown probably initiated that, putting aside the bag as a potential sale for the potential customer before they were sent off to lockdown. So this new guy who came there, he's like, I can't touch other people. I don't know who, But then he wasn't honest to me, because they were told to not tell any clients that store technically should have been shut down completely. So I start freaking out, hyperventilating. I was like, oh my God, now I got to get tested. But what? I was just there. I was talking to people. Oh my God, I was in that space. The infected boutique, the infected Yves Saint Laurent boutique. And I was just freaking out. He's like, don't worry about it. Relax, breathe. I was like, breathe? Like, why didn't they freaking tell me? This is terrible. So upset. Anyway, I'm, 1 year later, here I is. I did not get it back then. So knock on wood, all went well. But back then I was in shock. Anyway, he's like, well, back to our bag. If you're interested in the blue bag, you can have it. Or I can also reserve it for you, and we can wait for my friend to answer. And then she can let us know if it's, possible to get the Yves Saint Laurent bag that you want or not. I was like, you know what? I love this bag so much. I thought about it a little bit, and I got my blue baby, and we were fine. But it did take me a day of reconsideration still. I don't quite remember. It all became very fuzzy because I panicked so much in that moment that I don't remember. I would have to go back and watch my unboxing video. It was all blurry and fuzzy. It was like a dream, like a nightmare last March and April in particular. So I don't remember if I went again into like the next day to get this, if I thought about it one night, or if I bought it then and there. Maybe I went in the next day. Like, this is really blurry. At this point, the story for me becomes like, I'm in love with this bag. Anything 255 really is love for me. And look how cute it is and chubby. Such a little nugget. So I was so thrilled that they had this unexpected, and it was like meant to be. And then I thought to myself, well, of course it was meant to be. Everything is holistic in life. That bag was not supposed to happen because this bag was supposed to happen. So connect the dots, got the bag, loving the bag, don't regret it one bit. Also because I got this bag right before the price increase, before knowing that the price increase was coming. So this bag cost less than the original price of the 255 minis in leather. Because this one is in leather on the inside, but on the outside it's tweed. So it costs $200 to $300 less than the leather one. So like now it's $1,000 more. Like that's how big the price increase was. It's insane. So this was, for Chanel standards, an incredible price. And I got it right before the increase because then they locked down, everything closed, and there was no way of getting it until after the increase. So that was like super weird as well. Like I was like, wow, I was really lucky. Timing was right. And I got the bag. I got the bag because, and I didn't even want the bag officially. Originally, I didn't go to Chanel looking for the blue velvet mini. I didn't even know the blue velvet version existed. I knew that the other velvets existed in the 255 mini version. I knew that the blue velvet existed in the boy version, but I don't like the boy bag. So it all kind of it all fell into place in the right time that this bag wasn't picked up. But I came right after he received the no from the lady because she bought that other bag instead. And this one was kind of like meant to be there for me, while the other one wasn't meant to be there for me because it was still reserved for somebody who didn't come back. Everything is in parallel. Everything seems to be moving like in parallel worlds and universes, and the stars aligned. So more than ever do I believe that it was the right time, the right moment. It was just meant to be with this gorgeous, beautiful blue velvet bag. And it, of course, makes me think of David Lynch, one of my favorite directors, movie Blue Velvet, but also the Blue Rose case from Twin Peaks. Everything blue and the world of blue. And look how it just changes. You can write on it. Because it's velvet. And it's so soft. So anyway, I'm loving this precious little angel of a bag. But now back quickly to the YSL. Still obsessing over that bag. It's for now a classic. They produce it every season. Yes, since then it did go up in price around $150. But it's such a beautiful bag. Stay tuned for more because you might find out what bag it is pretty soon. But I ain't going to give it away just yet. Little cliffhanger, just in like every good TV show and every good storytelling time video. There's a cliffhanger at the end. Stay tuned. So let me get to your comments and see what y'all's got to say. MK says, first of all, Rich says, nothing takes color as well as velvet. Oh, velvet absorbs light like it's nobody's business. It's like depth within depth within depth. Angelique says, it's also the same blue as Kieslowski's blue from the movie. Drew Lorenzo says, a true beauty. Thank you, Drew. MK says, my friends who work as sales associates in luxury boutiques all told me their management staffs told them to stay away from any Asian-looking people. Because at the beginning, remember last year? Because, it was said, it came from, China. So it was a terrible moment. It still is terrible. People are still accusing innocent people just because they're Asian for this crazy situation. But particularly back then, it was really harsh and really hard for everybody Asian or Asian-looking because they were immediately discriminated. Like, just because I'm Asian doesn't mean I'm sick, you know what I mean? That's insane. But truth be told, same applied, in the 80s with the AIDS, with the AIDS issue and HIV, and also people, looks gay, must be sick, stay away, you got the plague. Discrimination. It's the word du jour, darling, for humanity, unfortunately. MK says, well, Dacob, your experience couldn't have been worse than mine. The month before the lockdown, I got kicked out or received suspicious looks from every places I'd been to. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, MK. That's terrible. Felix says, it was like a fever dream. No pun intended. Yeah. The color is gorge, says Amelia. I know, it's such a cute little blue color, isn't it? The cringiness when Chanel will one day cost $10,000 a bag. Andrew says, and Andrew, guess what? That day is not so far away. It's going to happen sooner than you think. That blue is immense, says Rich Mitch. It really, you guys, it really is. And I mean, look at it. I mean, it's like, it's insane. And look how it reflects light. It's, and plus the gold hardware, really, you know, the gold hardware makes it for me. Like, it's the gold hardware that gives that almost that Louis XIV heft. A velvet Chanel bag with gold hardware. It's like, this is where it's at. It doesn't get more Chanel than this, really. MK says, all in all, this velvet reissue is a much better choice than any YSL bags. Andrew says, Queen, always rock that fashion. Thank you so much, Andrew. You're such a sweetheart. Always so kind to me. Thank you. MK says, you should have walked around in the boutique while waiting for this douchebag. I didn't want to. That's just not my style. That's just not my style. You know, I'll collect all the information. And as I did at the end, you know, when they were like, no, but give us your number. Then I let them know. And then I let them have it. But I'll be patient and silent until all variables have been exhausted and where there's no other option. Then I'll let you know where it's at. Candy says, just got back. Sounds like a bad sales associate story. Yeah, right? Amelia says, I was also holding my breath near people. I know, it was so bizarre. We were all like, oh, held my breath too much. Lord says, it truly is a beautiful color, and the gold takes it to the next level. It's the gold, isn't it? Yeah. MK says, that's funny. In my subconscious, velvet plus hardware are more related to Yves Saint Laurent than to Chanel. But I will go with this blue velvet any day. Which YSL bag were you into? Purple velvet? I can't say no. No. Too early to say. We need a cliffhanger. Madame says, I work in retail. My colleague caught the disease and we all had to work the next day. The store was not disinfected by professionals. Nothing. Same people. Oh my God, Madame. Well, I'm so glad you're still with us and you're good. You're okay. George, oh hey George. George says, hello Dacob, so sorry to always be so late to the party nowadays. Wonderful story. Your blue bag is absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much, George. Listen guys, thank you so much for co-reviewing and chatting with me. I hope you've enjoyed the storytelling time. Stay tuned for the next one because there's more stories to tell. If you like my content, consider subscribing to my channel here on YouTube and push the join button next to the subscription button and gain access to extra perks like live pre-show exclusives just for you guys, videos that are made just for you that do not come to YouTube. And you also get to be listed as a co-producer of the Fashion Bunker. Your name will be scrolling here, elegantly and delicately scrolling, just like at the end of any good movie. In storytime movies and storytime videos, it's like a movie told through words, so it fits even more to have the credits rolling at the end. So, if you want to join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together, or become a member. And thank you to all the members and patrons who have already pledged, who are listed here. You guys are the best. Without you, the Fashion Bunker wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be telling all these stories. But thanks to you, I get to tell them. And they are amazing stories. As dangerous as they are sometimes, they are amazing. As far as the cliffhanger, I can tell you this. Well, we would need a post-credits roll, like in the movies, you know, the Avengers movie, and like credits roll, and then at the end, like, there's one more scene. But no, let's just do the scene now before the end of the credits and tell you it's a very luscious bag, okay? And you feel like you need to touch it when you see it. It's that luscious. And the leather looks divine on it. So much for that. More coming. Anyway, when it comes to bags, you gotta be that type of person that loves the bags. Nobody else will ever understand you except other people that love bags. It's a thing. You gotta be a bag person to kind of be so obsessed to wanna, you know, take a ride and risk your life to get a bag. Like it's crazy. But you gotta be that person. If you love a bag, you love a bag. There's no way of justifying it. There's no right words to put it in. It's just about the love of the bag. Call me crazy. And stay tuned for the continuation. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Mwah.